nothing pretty about war, nothing good, and there's nothing you can do to predict what's going to happen. But I think we've made a lot of progress with respect to Russia and Ukraine. I hope.
President Trump delivered a Christmas gift, and that is simply just not giving a fuck anymore. Not that he ever gave one to begin with, but the way he conducts his press conferences is funnier than ever. My goodness, I tried counting how many times he said fake news, and I think I lost count. I love it. I love every single moment of it, and I think you will too. So I do hope you stick around for the full thing. In the first bit, President Trump goes through the process of the B-52 or B-2 bombers that flew overseas and dropped the bombs in the Middle East and all that. Talks about how fake news CNN tried to report something different. You're gonna absolutely love that exchange. Then there's a lot more information in this video, a lot more interactions between reporters and Trump that I think you're gonna wanna see. So all I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into this.
Within days of taking office, I signed a historic executive order to combat the vile scourge of anti-Semitism, as you know. It's the strongest executive order of its kind ever signed. And we're also mobilizing federal resources to protect Jewish students and faculty. The faculty is under siege. The students are under siege. When you look at Columbia, you look at Harvard, you look at some of these schools, what's going on. But the faculty on campuses across America and are deporting foreign jihadist sympathizers and terrorist supporters at record levels. We're deporting them. We're not putting them in jails, we're deporting them. I terminated the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and this summer we obliterated Iran's nuclear program like nobody's ever seen. And even that CNN fake news, they're back there, the camera's roaring. The light will go off in any second now. They hate when I mention their name because they know it's only bad because they're crooked as hell. They're fake news, you know, the term. I think it's one of my better terms, Sid, right? I don't think anybody takes it away. We have some good ones, Pocahontas, but I think fake news is probably pretty good. The only problem is it's actually not strong enough. You know, fake, it's crooked, corrupt, disgusting news, but we'll have to do with fake. But fake isn't strong enough. That's the only problem. It's actually, I wish I could come up with a word that's really more powerful than fake, but fake is good enough. But CNN with the attack on Iran, they said, well, I used the word we obliterated them. You know why? Because the pilots told me they know better than anybody, and the pilots told everything, and then we had visuals. And these pilots are coming back after having endured the most dangerous ride. I said, did you guys, I had them all to the Oval Office. After 2 weeks after the attack, I had them all. I had the pilots, and I had the people that maintain the planes. I had the people that fly the tankers. We had 52 tankers, because we had the 7 major planes. We also had 4 planes flying of the B-2, flying in different directions. Iran didn't know what the hell was happening. But we had a whole force of F-22s, most beautiful fighter jet ever made, most powerful fighter jet ever made. And F-35 is a brand new one. And they're stealth. Believe me, they're stealth, because they went into Iranian airspace, and Iran never saw anything. And it was, think of this, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was dark at night. There was no moon at all, no light, no nothing. And every single bomb went right down those air shafts into granite mountains, right down those air shafts. At 2 o'clock in the morning with no vision, every single bomb hit its target. And CNN said on the way back, they were on the way, they hadn't even landed yet, well, maybe the attack wasn't that bad. Because I used the word obliteration. I turned out to be right. The Atomic Energy Commission shortly thereafter said it was total obliteration. Iran actually said it was total obliteration. In fact, they said touchdown. Yeah, it was a touchdown. But it was amazing. And we've never had an apology from CNN, So you have fake news against you, fake news. And I didn't fight for you. I wasn't fighting for you there. I was fighting for those pilots that were so brave to go there. When they came into the Oval Office, I said, you can't seriously enjoy this. They said, sir, we enjoy every minute of it. We were practicing this and the predecessors. We were practicing for 22 years, they said. For 22 years they were practicing. And No president had the courage to let them go and do that. They wanted to do it for 22 years. And the predecessors, mean the young pilots at the time. But for 22 years, 3 times a year, they were practicing that run. And I'm the one that said, let's go get them, let's do it. And if we didn't, and they thanked me. But I did say to the pilots, enough is enough. I said, do you really like being in that plane when they're waiting for you? They know you're coming. It's dark. It's cold. It's everything is, and you're in a plane, and there are bullets flying all over the place. Sir, I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. Can you believe these people? And I love you people, but I'm not getting in that plane. I love you guys, but these people are unbelievable. The talent they have, the way they can fly those things, the way they can aim it at a target in the dark of night, the darkest you've ever seen. They wanted to be as dark as possible. They didn't want anything. And the only time anybody could see those planes was when those bomb chutes open up, because it becomes totally unstealth when it goes. I explained that to Mark Levin once. You're going in, you go like this, and as soon as it goes like this, for some reason, the plane is totally visible, not good. And I watched it happening, and it's like I'm sitting home watching it. It's amazing. The Situation Room is an amazing place. But I watched him go, bing, bing. It went bing, bing, and 2 massive 100,000-pound bombs come pouring out. And the job they did was incredible. I mean, compare that to, I thought he was a nice man, but compare that to the Jimmy Carter attack on Iran. That was not good, with the helicopters and the men running all over the place trying to get the hell out of there. This was not good. This was the single greatest military attack that anyone's ever seen.
I told you, you're gonna love it. But wait, because there is more. President Trump breaks his silence on the BBC lawsuit. In fact, it's fully launched now. Here's what he had to say.
In a little while, you'll be seeing I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally. They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words. Talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said, and they got caught. Because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. Let's call fake news. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you have any questions, I guess you could ask, but
Then President Trump talks about his popularity specifically in Tennessee and the fact that he's very confident heading into the midterms. Have a listen.
President, the Democrats won Miami, where you won the election 1 year ago. Do you think it's because of the Hispanic media like Telemundo that are publishing fake news about the ICE operations? How do you plan to win back those votes for midterms?
Yeah, well, I won that whole election. And, you know, it's interesting. When I'm not running, we don't do as well. And I'm going to try and get that changed for the midterms. But we did have a big win in Tennessee, as you know. Matt Van Epps had a big win in Tennessee against a very strong candidate, attractive candidate, who a lot of people thought would do very well. And Matt won by a lot. And I won Tennessee by a real lot. You know, we had a great election. We won every single swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. And there's a thing that they have now, districts, which is a big deal. I think in a way it's the most important stat from the standpoint of, you know, looking at numbers accurately. So out of thousands of districts, I won 2,750 versus 525. Think of that, 2,750 versus 525. It was great. That's why the map, when you see a map of the election, it's all red, other than two little narrow lines on the other side, please.
And then we got to take a look at what's going on between Russia in America and other countries, because tensions are actually kind of coming down, all thanks to President Trump, and it's fully explained in this next clip.
Yeah, please, Katie.
Question about Ukraine. Now that the meetings in Berlin have wrapped up with Zelensky, is there a timetable for going to Moscow? Is a delegation going?
Well, I think that the delegation is largely there right now, actually. They're in Europe, and they met with those people that I called out before, the various countries, plus some others. They want to see it end, Katie. They want to see it end. They all, I want to see it end. They want to see it end. I actually think that President Putin wants to see it end. You know, I've had good talks. We've had good talks with Russia, and I think they'd like to get back to a more normal way of life.
Mr. President, follow up there. An Article 5-like deal seems to be emerging without NATO membership for Ukraine. If such a security guarantee is offered, what incentive is there for Ukraine to give up any sort of territory?
Well, look, you have, they've already lost the territory, you know, to be honest. I mean, the territory is lost. But in terms of security guarantee, we're working with Europe on it. Europe would be a big part of that. And we're working on the security guarantee so the war doesn't start up again. We don't want to have a war start up again. You know, as I said, with Thailand and Cambodia, two people I get along with great, and I dealt with them, and I called them, and I said, look, fellas, you got to relax. You got to take it easy. They lost. You know, they started the war again, and I got it ended. And things like that are going to happen, war. There's nothing pretty about war, nothing good, and there's nothing you can do to predict what's going to happen. But I think we've made a lot of progress with respect to Russia and Ukraine. I hope. You know, last month, it was close to 27,000 soldiers were killed, mostly soldiers, but 27,000 people, but mostly soldiers were killed last month in Russia versus Ukraine.
Is there a time limit on security guarantees?
Well, there's no time limit. The time limit is whenever we get it done. I mean, we're going to try to get it done. We're making progress. It's more difficult than anybody could have thought. I would have said that half of the wars that I got settled, some were going for over 30 years, that half of them should have been more difficult, and they actually haven't been. There's a lot of dislike between the two leaders, you know that, and so it probably makes it a little bit tough.
Have you spoken directly to Putin? Have you recently spoken directly to Putin?
Yeah, I have.
On Syria, Mr. President, on the U.S. troops killed in Syria over the weekend, why do we have troops in Syria?
Because we're trying to make sure that there's going to be and remain peace in the Middle East, and Syria is a big part of it. The new leader is a strong person, and that's what you need. This is a rough part of the world, and it's been amazing what's taken place in Syria. We got rid of Assad. We got rid of other people that were really bad people and that were in the way of peace in the Middle East. You know, we have legitimate peace in the Middle East, first time in 3,000 years. And we have 59 countries backing it. And we'll see what happens with Hamas. We'll see what happens with Hezbollah. But regardless, I mean, we have countries that want to go in and clean that out if we want them to do it. But they said, in the case of Hamas, they said that they're going to disarm, and we're going to find out whether or not that's true. Hezbollah in Lebanon has been a problem. We'll see what happens there. But there is legitimate large-scale peace in the Middle East. And if there weren't, we wouldn't have been able to make all of those deals that we've made with the various countries. They would have never been able to do that. If, for instance, if we didn't, with that B-2 bomber right there on the desk, if we didn't, of which we just ordered a lot more of the newer version, totally stealth. They could not see it. They knew it was coming. They had no idea where it was. It was pretty amazing, actually. Every bomb hit its mark perfectly, despite CNN trying to say differently. They didn't know. They just, hoped. They hoped that we didn't, but it turned out that they did. Atomic Energy Commission confirmed it. So did Iran confirm it. They got knocked to hell. But if we didn't knock out their nuclear capability, we would have never had peace in the Middle East, because you would have had a dark cloud hanging over Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE and all the other countries, and they would have never, ever been able to sign an agreement.
And there you go. That's the video. That's one of the Christmas specials. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Again, if you did, it'd be super awesome for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.